brand lease, and the lease is available exclusively to New Jersey homeowners. However, since we started in 2009, really what we spent most of our time on was trying to find ways for people to understand what was there for them in terms of solar and how they can maximize the benefit in terms of what was available in terms of incentives from the state and federal government. One of the things that's important here is, I heard a lot of conversations from companies about how big they are, how much they're worth, the signs they have on stadiums, the apps that they have. I don't think any of that really matters to you. Okay? What I'd like to think is that what you're really concerned about is, what is solar going to do for me? What's it going to save me? What's it going to cost? How does it work? There are a lot of questions. Any contractor that you work with, any company that you work with, needs to be able to prepare to sit down and educate you and answer all those questions. I have 100 questions in here that I would love to answer, because I don't think that you really got the kind of answers that are really going to stick, that really help you understand how solar works. I can't do that in this presentation. But what I'd like to do is show you what owning solar looks like. And there's no mistake that I came after Patty and the PSEG program, because we are one of the top solar companies in the state of New Jersey who've utilized that program. Okay? So you'd all like to think that everybody hates to pay their PSEG electric bill, right? Yes. Okay. So part of going solar means you don't have any more bill, right? No.
Oh, but it can.
Sometimes you're not going to be able to eliminate your entire bill, but what if you could generate enough solar to eliminate your bill? Well, depending on the type of program you have, that may or may not mean that you are energy independent. Okay? If you've done a lease, well, maybe all you've done is really traded your reliance on the utility company for a 20-year commitment to another really big company with the promise of some future savings along the way. Okay? We would like to think that there's a better way to do that. So first of all, you really need to educate yourself. Okay? We already answered the question. You may not be able to eliminate your electric bill. When somebody says, oh, you're not going to pay the utility company anymore, well, that really depends on how big your roof is and how small your bill is. You really need to understand what you're really paying for electricity. Okay, so when people talk about rates, you need to know what energy inflation is. Okay, when somebody shows you 4 or 5% energy inflation, well, that really isn't happening. You'd probably be surprised to know that this year, you're paying the same all-in price per kilowatt hour that you were in 2009. Well, we're certainly going to see a certain amount of adjustment. We know that over time, things always go up. So the price of energy will go up, and there's some value in buying into a plan and fix your rate at a more competitive level. We talked about incentives. These are incentives. You have federal 30% tax credit. That's a dollar-for-dollar credit on the total cost of your system. You have 6 years to take advantage of that. Obviously, it really works great for you if you take that all in the first year, and most people can. The biggest value of a lease is that if you can't take advantage of that tax credit, well, maybe the only way to go solar would be for a lease. You say New Jersey, no sales tax, property tax exemption for 15 years in terms of increased property value due to putting solar on your home. You get those solar renewable energy credits, and you have the ability to do net metering with the utility company. Just to kind of help understand SRECs a little bit better. SRECs really are just, all you're doing when you're selling an SREC is you're selling your right to say that you generate. So all the utility companies are doing is they're buying your right. They're not buying credits, they're not buying energy credits. They're simply buying the right to say that you generated 1,000 kilowatt hours of solar generated electricity. And that goes towards their state mandated goal.
That's an important point that I think needs to be driven in, which is that the utilities are required by law to be generating a certain amount of renewable energy, and instead of them building their own wind turbine farm or solar panel farm, they're buying the solar power certificates from each of us that has solar power on our roof, and they get to then say that makes them legal to say that they have generated a certain amount of power. You understand? They are buying that right to say that they are generating power because they're paying us for it. I think that's an important point to understand about the SREC. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, so there's two main ways to go solar in the state of New Jersey. I've said lease. We've heard of lease and PPA use alternately. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Basically what happens is a lease or a PPA company, basically what they do is they take all of those incentives give some of it back to you in the form of a reduced payment that replaces a certain portion of your electric bill. That's where your savings come from. But they take all of those incentives. We like to think that there are better ways with the right financial solutions for you to use those incentives for yourself. Okay? Now, we get into an argument about this. There's no such thing as free. There's no free same as cash. There are no free solar energy systems. When you go to lease a car, you go to lease that car, you don't get a free car and you pay for 15,000 miles of usage. You pay for a certain percentage of that car. Now, those of us in the industry, I'm a solar designer, okay? And I'm a solar, I've been in business since 2009. I can tell you that at the end of 20 years, with the changes in the technology and the amount of D-rate that those panels have experienced, off your roof, those panels on the street will be worth literally nothing. Okay? Because I have leases, this is a very complicated math. It's much different than a car with residual value. Okay? But the reason we have leases and PPAs is basically in that math, to come up with a rate for you, the leasing company has to decide how much do we need from you every year, okay? Plus monetizing all of those incentives from the federal and state level to be able to get a return for our investors, and that includes recovering the cost of installing solar on your home. Okay? So what we really need to do is agree that this is about financing. It's about one way or another you're paying for that system. Whether you're paying for it directly or the leasing company is paying for it. But the one thing that they got really, really right, okay, is the model that everybody loves. And that's that no money down, saves from the first year. Love that. Right? How can that be bad? All right? There's other way of doing this, and that's as an investment. Well, a lease or a PPA, that's not an investment. Okay? That's really just sort of reducing your future energy costs. Okay, with a fixed 20-year contract. And when you're doing an investment, you're asking 3 questions. How much out of my pocket? How long before I get it back in my pocket? And what's my rate of return? So this is what we're going to talk about. So this is a specific example. You know, we've heard a lot about rates, we've heard a lot about companies, but let's talk about what this really means to you and how much you can expect to save. Okay, now this is a typical system we just made, 8.4 kilowatts. These are the system production numbers. The anticipated 20-year production, assuming a 0.5% panel D-rate. The value of that energy, we figured about $40,000, assuming that we start out at 18.3 cents is what you're paying, and a 2.5% energy inflation rate. So, here's your system cost, that 8.4, $31,920. Utilizing PSE&G's program, by allowing them to give you, and it really is just as simple as that. It's called a loan, but I'm going to tell you, we're going to just use the word program. Because here's what's going to happen. We've been doing this program since 2010. What they're going to do is they're going to write you a big fat check. You never write anything back to it. Imagine that. Imagine PSE&G giving you over $16,000 you're never going to have to pay back. All you have to do is allow them to say that they have the right to say they generate electricity on your roof. That's it. Now, you got 50% from PSE&G, you get 30% from the federal government. What's that leave? 20%. So, using our financing program, what we'll be able to do is, rather than having to get that money up front, you'll be able to defer that money. So the only amount of money that you're going to have to actually pay is this. That's your out of pocket, $5,651, period. Over the course of that system, you're going to save about $40,000 in savings in income, 5 years worth of escrow, you're going to be able to sell the revenue. Years to pay back, just like your savings alone, is 2.79 years. That's an annualized rate of return of 18.32% on your investment. Who's getting that in their 401k? Right? Great investment. Okay, so you like the no money down option. So we'll take that out of pocket and we'll finance it at 84 months. 7 years, not 20. And that payment's going to be $85. You're going to make $85 a month payment every month for 84 months. You see what happens here? That $85 over 12 months translates into a rate per kilowatt hour of 9 cents. You've cut your bill in half. Your first electric savings, $2,050. Annual finance payments, $1,020. Your savings after your payments is $1,030. How amazing is that? So your system, while you're making payments for the energy, is paying months, the energy is free. That's energy independence. And that's what you all should be looking to do. You're going to enjoy greater lifetime savings. You're going to get, because you own the system, there are no production guarantees. There are performance guarantees where you extend every warranty from those manufacturers to 25 years, including the labor charge to replace that inverter when it goes bad. We're going to use smart monitoring that's going to tell you what every single panel is doing, and when something's wrong, it's not going to just send you an email, it's going to send me an email and tell us not only there's a problem, but the panel is this one. And then we're going to go to the warranty and we're going to get that replaced. We won't talk about it. Okay. You got a choice of products. You're going to be able to create a true asset on your home, truly increasing its value. So, true energy independence is not trading your reliance on a utility company